Well, hello crew. Welcome to another community night. We are excited to be here with you again. It is the 5th week of school. Can you guys believe that? Does it feel like that to you? It still feels like the second day to me in the semester. I'm wondering how you guys are doing. I wish that I could sit in your community groups and just hear stories of how this last month has been. And I know it has been so crazy and everything is new and different. Upperclassmen, how are you guys doing with all these changes? Like, there's nothing, it seems like, that is like what you've experienced already. How are you guys adjusting? And freshmen, man, we see you. We understand that you guys are the class that had probably the most disappointing senior year. And then you come to college campus where you can't go into each other's dorms, you have to wear masks and social distance. You guys are gonna be like the most adaptable, the most flexible, the most resilient class that we've seen in a long, long time. So good job. And we know that it's been hard. We see that, but we are glad that you're here. And we are excited, we really are, to get to know you more and more. So I'm wondering how you guys are really feeling. Now that the newness of the first couple weeks have come and gone, how are you guys doing, upperclassmen and freshmen? You know, if I'm honest, I've already felt like I've been running on empty, or very close to it a few times in these weeks. So I'm curious, for those of you with cars, how many of you are those kind of people that you always have to have a full tank, that you're always topping it off? Or how many of you are those kind of people that you let it go until your gas light comes on? How many of you guys have gotten stuck actually without gas and had to call your family member or a friend to come and get you? So our cars were made to run on gas. And because they were made to run on gas, if they don't have it, it doesn't work, right? Now, I'm not an expert on cars, but I do know that it's not good to let your car get down to empty more often than you need to. You know, I think we're actually the same. I mean, obviously we weren't made to run on gas, but we were made with actual needs that need to be fulfilled in order to work, to be healthy. One of those main needs that we have is to be in relationship with one another. And I'm not talking about, dating or romantic relationships. That's actually a whole nother community group. But I am talking about just friendships, families. We were made to be in friendships and in families. We were made to know other people and to be known by others. We were made to love and be loved by others. We were made to live life together. Now I can imagine in this crazy COVID season, a season of masks, of social distancing, quarantining, I'm sure a lot of us are feeling like we are not living life together. We're living life in isolation. And it doesn't even take a pandemic for us to feel this way, to feel the weight of loneliness, because we all have our own insecurities. We all have our own defense mechanisms that keep us from pursuing other people or even letting other people in, right? And that leaves us in a really tough spot. If we're made for a relationship, but have all these barriers that keep us from relationship, that's why we experience loneliness. That's why we experience sadness and isolation. And we're not made for that. Like I said before, we're made to be together, not to be disconnected. To be disconnected from one another actually is to be empty. We need relational and emotional fuel. Let's pause here. I want you guys to pause and take a look at what Jesus says about all of this. And there is just a ton of places in the Bible that we could look at about relationships, because Jesus cares a lot about relationships. But right now I want you guys to turn to John chapter 15, and we're going to look at verses 9 through 17. And I want you guys just to dialogue about how these verses make you feel, what you think about them, what would be true if we actually believe these things and live them out. Your community group leaders will have some questions for you to get conversation going. But really, we want to hear your thoughts. So if you have other questions, if you have thoughts, please volunteer those with us or ask questions to the group as well, because we care about what you think. So why don't you pause the video here? I'll come back after you guys have the discussion. I've got some thoughts to wrap us up, but I'll see you in a bit while you guys talk. All right, guys, welcome back. I hope you guys had a great discussion with each other. I hope that you really enjoyed those verses. I love this passage. I actually read this chapter fairly regularly just because it's so good. And every time I get to verse 9, it stops me in my tracks. The reality that Jesus says just the same way that God the Father loves Jesus, which has to be an incredible amount. And that same amount, to that same degree, to that same depth, Jesus is saying, I love you. That's how he loves me. And that is amazing to me. And that's a kind of God that I want to get to know. I just want to be with. I want to know him more and more as a result of that kind of love. And I got to tell you, just even from my personal experience, Jesus' love is the best thing that I have ever experienced. His love actually is better than we could ever imagine. It's sweeter than you could ever hope for. It is the best thing that I've ever had in my life. And the awesome thing, as you've even seen from these verses that you guys just discussed, is that he wants you to know his love. He wants to show you his love more and more. It's this kind of love that fills our tanks. But he doesn't stop there. He doesn't want his love just to stay in isolation with me and him, but he wants it to spread around. He wants us to love each other now so that we can experience that love in tangible ways, not just spiritual ways. He's asking us to care for one another, to serve one another, to pursue each other, to cry with each other, to laugh with each other, to eat together, to pursue each other in deep, meaningful ways that we actually see each other. You know, the more that you study the Bible, the more you will see that this is exactly what Jesus did when he was on earth. If you look at his life, he was always eating with people, he was mourning with people, he was laughing with people, he was comforting people. That's what he wants us to do with each other. That's how he's made us to be. That's a pretty amazing God, and it's those kind of friendships that are fueled by Jesus' love that will fuel us, that will fill our tanks. That's what we're made for. So my challenge to you tonight is to start moving towards each other now. Even before you leave tonight, before you leave this group, set up a time to grab coffee with someone that you haven't really gotten to know yet. Sit across the table from them, ask them questions, share your story too. Before you guys leave tonight, it would be awesome if you as a group decided on some of the things that you want to do together, how you guys are going to form these kind of friendships, whether that's hiking together, having a movie night, having meals together, whatever it is. Start talking about what's the plan to get us there to these kind of friendships. Wouldn't it be awesome if we were people that actually experienced God's love and actually showed that kind of love to one another? I think we would be totally set apart. I would love to see that happen in Crew this year. Let's be people that go after that. And I don't know if you caught this, but in verse 11, Jesus said he was telling us these things because he wants our joy to be full. He wants our tanks to be full. That happens when we experience his love and give it out to others. So please don't let this conversation stop here tonight. Please don't let these kind of experiences stop here. Keep talking to each other, keep pursuing each other. And as always, just keep an eye on our social media and our website for upcoming events, places that you can get more plugged in and connected. But thanks for coming tonight. I'll be praying for you guys this week.